What's up guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a Lego railroad crossing signal. The particular thing about this version is that unlike previous models, it is very realistic and it barely uses any basic bricks. In fact, most of the signal is made using Lego Technic elements. To make things better articulated, I'm going to be breaking this model into 3 separate sections. The gate section to the left, the top of the cantilever, and the mast of the cantilever. These are the parts that you will need to complete this section of the railroad crossing signal. Now, this gate piece is from a set that dates back to 1991. However, as I build it, I will show you that you will be able to use pretty much any type of gate because there will be about a 1 unit opening that you can just plug in whichever type of setup you like. This section comes together like so. You attach the 2 stud long axle to the 4 stud long beam. The small bush goes here. And then you have an axle that will attach to this gate piece right here. Connect the gate like so. Connect the larger bush. Note that you can use any sort of combination, as I said. Of course, you would replace this with a smaller bush or with no part at all, depends on what you would like to use. And this goes here. This axle will go right in here, leaving half a stud open on the left side to put the simulated counterweight. So you have like the counterweight portion. Now we're going to cross it over the Technic beam, the 4 stud long beam, using the whole end of it so that the gate can move, so that it can pivot. Otherwise, if you stick it in through here, it will lock, and here it won't move properly. So you do this, and then you want to simulate more counterweight by putting this piece here. So you now have a rotating gate that can attach to the base of the cantilever. The top portion of the cantilever will require the following pieces. Now let's start putting together the top of the cantilever with the lights and the crossbuck first. So we have 1 dish, a 1x1 stud, make that 2 of them, put it on a 1x3 plate, and put a gray stud like so. So now you have the lights that are ready to attach to the cantilever. Now for the crossbuck, I'm going to have to use a jumper because of the positioning of this part of the crossing. So we're going to use a jumper and we're going to center it like so on the X. X marks the spot. Now it's recommended that you line it just so it's about 45 degrees offset from the crossbuck so it looks like it was properly installed. So we'll put these aside and go for the harder part that I kind of already forgot how to do. So we're going to grab a 6 stud long Technic bar, run this through, like so, put a 1x7 axle, like so. We're going to kind of adjust it so that this runs up against the end because we're going to put the vertical bars, or rather simulate the vertical bars. To match this, we're going to put in a 1x5 Technic axle so that you have like the space for the light head. We're going to end it with a bush. I may have to move the L-shaped beam a little bit so that it's lined up. So you want these 2 to line up. This is going to be a stud shorter, so we're going to combine it to have 12 studs in total so that they can all join together at the same spot. For mounting the light head, we're going to grab 1 headlight brick. I took the stud out of the lights so I can make it a little easier to stick in. Put the stud here, attach it to the center of the beam like so, and now place the light on it. We're going to put in 1 L-shaped beam like so. Get in there. Get in there. Now place the 2 bushes in here. Make sure they're lined up. And now you're gonna put 2 5-stud long axles here. And let's try to get this in this way. So we're gonna first run this bar across the beam. And then plug it in like so, and then line it up so that you have the ends all lining up at the same spot. So now more or less, notice that the 2 axles and the 6-stud long bar are lined up. I will actually mount the crossbuck right here, like so. Place it so that you have the jumper centered at the bar, so it looks like it's coming out of the bar, the beam rather. And now you have the crossbuck properly positioned on the cantilever. We will finish off with this here for this section. And we are now good to put the 3 bushes, because now we have them all lined up and ready to connect. Now I will add 3 long Technic axles. To finish off this particular cantilever, I'm going to be adding 3 3-stud long Technic axles in gray. Truly, this part of the cantilever is really expandable, so you can add however long you want, you can add more lights, etc. But this is designed for a 1-lane road with a sidewalk, so I'll be adding a short 3-stud long beam. After everything is said and done, you should end up with something that looks like this. So you can now run this L-shaped beam across like so. And now, pardon me, this section right here is ready to mount onto the mast of the cantilever. But to add more detail, we're going to be adding the ladder so that you kind of have the bars of the catwalk simulated across. So we're going to grab a 1x1 plate with a vertical clip, a 1x1 clear plate to kind of give an illusion that there's like nothing in between. Make that 2 of them, attach them wherever is appropriate, and add the ladder accordingly. So I want to put it like around here, so I'll use this mount right here. And I'll also add one around here, or here rather. So I will use the mount right here. The beauty of this ladder is that you can just stick a stud's width all the way across and it will more or less interlock. So let's now clip it onto the back of the crossing, and now this portion of the cantilever is done and ready to attach to the mast of the signal. For this last section, the base, the following parts are needed. I will make a note that when I was doing this demonstration, I couldn't really get this gray stud apart from the Technic joint, so keep that in mind when building this cantilever. I also will not show you again how to do this because I already showed you how to do this when I did the platform. So in order to do this, you need a 2x2 plate or anything that will allow it to mount onto the ground, a 2x2 round brick so that you're able to connect the axles. A 5-stud long black Technic axle, could be gray, it doesn't really matter here, even though the rest of the cantilever it does matter. Put a bush right in here, a small bush, so that you can attach the mount that'll connect the gate of the cantilever, which would be this piece. It could also be other parts, but this is the firmest and most appropriate choice. Now, in order to give it the necessary distance, I will put in a larger Technic bush right here. I know newer sets will only come with red, but if you can find gray, it would be great. I will put the Technic connector that has a stud. Actually, before that, I will put this minifigure neck bracket right here, so that we're going to attach the ladder. Put this apparatus here. Note that this will be a little bit free to move, but if you apply enough pressure, it'll hold it in place. A 3 stud long Technic axle with a bush down the middle will be next. Another one of these connectors. And now we'll be attaching the crossbuck backwards with a stud so you can position it clutch right here. I will also add the light setup, which uses 2 dishes, 2 studs, and a 1x3 plate. So now the bottom of it's pretty much done. This next part is going to require a bit of attention. So we have a 7 stud long Technic axle. I'm going to mount a 2 stud long cylinder. I made it silver to give it a little luster, but it could also be gray to match the cantilever. All the other parts are only available in the flat gray. Let's raise the camera just a little bit because we are going vertical. Here, there's going to be some free moving parts, but once you put the ladder in, it's going to be pretty much stuck. So we have the 3 stud long connector that you see here. It's going to go first so that the bottom of the platform can connect, the overhead portion. I'm going to put a Technic axle here. I'm sorry, a bush. This connector, where you have a hole on one end and an axle on the other, you're going to put the whole end through this axle so that the axle end can connect to the overhead portion. And we're going to use a bush, which is interchangeable as an electronic bell. So if you want to do a mechanical bell, there are ways to do that. You could use an end piece and a dish to simulate an electronic bell. So the meat of this portion is done. Now we need to do the extra details. So in order to keep the gate in place, I used a 1x1 plate with a horizontal clip and a pneumatic axle joint. I'm sorry, a pneumatic hose joint. So I'm going to put it like so that whenever I put the gates, it could kind of be stabilized when it's in the down position. The bush right here will generally give it a little friction when it's in the up position, but when it's in the down position, it needs something to stop it. So let's actually attach it and show you a demonstration. So you see that this gate is stuck down because this bush is giving a little bit of contact with this part of the counterweight. And notice that even though it's free to go all the way, you can kind of hold it up. So now the gate is attached back to the cantilever. So I'm going to be using my makeshift. And now let's build the ladder section. You need a 1x10, or you could make it a 1x12. You could use a 1x10, 1x2, or a 1x12 depending on what's available. 3 studs. Let's make it actually visible in the frame. You could use 2 if you have a 1x12, but I like to use 3. Attach them like so. So you have 2 on either end. Place the ladder with the lips facing outwards. And now mount it to the cantilever. Now I'm going to position this so that the top of the cantilever, the final section, can be properly retached. And you're going to attach it to the very bottom of the neck bracket, which is right here. So in the end, I have managed to figure it out. So you want this piece at a slight angle so that it doesn't interfere with the ladder. And you want it so that the pneumatic hose joint is positioned at the perfect spot so that the gate's able to be down. So this is how the final setup should look for this section. And now we're going to add the last section, the finishing touch. And using the 3 axle holes seen here, mounted like so, it's going to take some adjusting, but this is a very fragile and very intricate model. It's expected. It's Technic quality. And once everything is fidgeted around with properly, you finally have a finished 2-lane long cantilever. Realistic, yet a little bit delicate, but nonetheless we got the job done. So now you're ready to add a realistic looking railroad crossing to your LEGO City layout. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more of this awesome content, and I'll see y'all soon. TE out.